wonder how some of those homeschoolers get done by lunchtime? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you our morning schedule and how we get done by lunch, and what some little tips that I've picked up as I've been homeschooling that I can share with you that make it so much easier to accomplish this. Don't forget to like this video and please consider subscribing. So today I am just talking about how to get done by lunch, and it really starts the night before. So I have an evening routine that I like to set out all of my kids' schoolwork, and I make little stacks, and I have pre-printed the older children who are more independent their daily lists, because Monday looks a little different from Tuesday, which looks a little different from Wednesday, and so on. So we have a weekly rhythm that we're already following. So I like to just stick their books out and stack them up so that they can be ready to go and they're not looking for their materials. And I feel like as a home educator, that is part of my job, is to set up the schoolroom, just like as if I was a teacher at a traditional school. They would get their classroom ready. They would just look at their lesson plans for the next day. So I like to spend anywhere from, it can be as little as 5 minutes the night before, or sometimes it's a little bit longer, maybe 30 minutes if I'm looking for somebody's book, or if I just want to make sure that somebody's understanding their materials a little bit more deeply. So since we started well the night before, and maybe we got to bed at a proper time, and I do set my alarm, but I probably only get up with my alarm 2 days a week. That is just because we still have children who are waking up in the middle of the night. And so I try on Monday to always use my alarm and get up with the alarm early at 6 a.m. so that I just feel better when I have about an hour before my kids start waking up. To get ready, read my Bible, just talk to my husband, whatever. So doing that twice a week. The other day we do it is on co-op days that I'm just hard, even if I have been up with somebody the night before, I try to just get up anyway. So the other days are really a little bit more flex, but I do start at 8 o'clock each day as best as I can handle it. So as I mentioned, I do have a start time. Now, does that mean that sometimes we start later? Yeah. And we also sometimes start earlier. Sometimes my older children will be in the schoolroom at 7:30 because they've already gotten up and gotten going and they're just ready to get started, which is wonderful when that happens. But having a start time kind of anchors me and helps me make sure that I've taken care of the baby and all of my morning chores before the kids need me to be sitting in the schoolroom with them. So another big help has been when I prepare breakfast ahead of time. Sometimes on Saturdays, I'll make a ton of eggs and sausage so that we can have it for Sunday and also enough for Monday. And then I'll try to repeat that, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work, but we eat eggs and sausage every day for breakfast so that my kids aren't hungry. We don't do cereal. So I found if I can prepare that far enough in advance or make it in batches, then that's less work for me to be doing. Sometimes I've even made it the night before if I'm not completely exhausted and just falling into bed. So just thinking ahead and having some of those things set up ahead of time really help get us started on time. So another tip is just being ready before the children are either awake or before they need to be ready, because I found that I really need to be manually guiding everybody through the morning just to check and make sure that nobody's, just playing with their toys or they start to get into fights if they're not not paying attention to what they're doing. If I'm distracted with the baby or I'm talking with my husband, all of those things are normal parts of the morning. But if I'm also not prepared, being like dressed and have my makeup on and just feel like a human, then I find it's been really hard to get started at a decent time, because then we're just kind of on a rat race of trying to play catch up all morning. And that to me does not feel good. So I really want to treat our school day like work, because it is my work and it is their work. And it's like, it does fall on me to take it seriously and to help everybody, get dressed and get prepared. For a while, I would sometimes allow them to homeschool in their PJs, but I found that unless it's a special PJ day, we need to get dressed. We need to fix our hair. Even if we're not leaving our property that day, we do need to get ready for the day, because it makes us feel better and it helps us also perform better. It just teaches us a little bit of self-respect as well. So our morning routine has 3 distinct blocks. It starts off with, at 8 o'clock, I sit down on our little couch and I have my first grader next to me, and oftentimes I'll have my third grader as well doing his math. And I will go through first grade on the couch with that child. And obviously I'm available for other questions, but for a child who's not independently reading yet and needs a lot of extra help, I need him right next to me. And then the other student is a little bit more of a dawdler, so I do also need to help keep that child on task. So I'm able to do that on the couch. Sometimes I'll have my 3-year-old on me, and my baby will be playing in the pack and play, which is fine. So far, she's not complained yet. So I found that these things, just being present and having that start time, we work for 1 hour from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock. And we all have different things that we're working on. We're not working on just math for that hour, but we do mostly start with our Bible reading. They have independent reading that they're doing, and math. And then my first grader can also do his computer work with the piano. So that really helps gets us started. And then we move on to our next block. And our next block is our morning walk. So our morning walk, and I'm going to do another video just on the morning walk because it's so essential. But basically, we just leave the house and we walk around our neighborhood. It is so wonderful to get outside on a daily, regular basis and enjoy nature, but also it breaks up that morning of sitting down, doing our school, we're doing math, we're doing really hard things. But then I want us to break it up. In school, they would have a recess or they would have some other things to break up their day. So I don't want our homeschool to be more militant than a school would be. I really want them to enjoy the day. And we probably go on a morning walk anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week because we have other things going on other days. But I have found that I can be really tired. We can be grumpy. Math can be really hard in the morning. And then we can go on our morning walk. The kids will run. We'll find a squirrel or a chipmunk. We might find a really cool flower. And that really helps us kind of reset. And also sometimes I'll be really, really tired and I'm just exhausted. I can't even read this anymore. And then we'll go on our morning walk and I'm like, oh, I needed just some oxygen in my brain. So it really gives me a second wind. So that's our second block. And that just takes anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. Okay, so you may be wondering, what is the baby doing all this time? Right now, my baby is 15 months old and she's a really, really easy baby. So during the hour that I'm working with the students who need help, my first grader, my third grader, then my baby's actually playing happily in the pack and play. So oftentimes the preschoolers will get in there and play with her. And that seems to really work for us. But then after about an hour, she gets really antsy. So the morning walk really breaks it up for her as well. When I get back from the walk, then I get the baby set up, I get our snacks set up, and the older ones kind of finish up whatever they need to do. And then we start morning time anywhere from about at 10 o'clock till about 10:30 is when we start. So it just kind of depends on what other work the older ones need to finish. And then we sit down and get started. So morning time, I have staggered so that the little ones go first and I have their nursery rhyme loop that I go through. And then I move into our Bible time. This is kind of our structure that you can see here. And after we do our Bible time and our hymn singing, then we can move into our prayers and our confession I kind of have laid out so I don't forget. Then we move to our poetry memory work. Each student has their own poems. Then we move to reading our scripture each day. And I have math facts that we're drilling. We do this by term. And our folk song we run through. And then at the end, I do our reading so that the little ones can be dismissed or play or cause a ruckus. And then we're done. Now, that kind of brings us to about 11:30 or 12 o'clock. And that's a 4-hour morning. We're done if we started at 8. And yeah, we had some breaks in there in between, but it's pretty consistent. But that's how we get done by lunch. Thanks so much for watching. If you want more videos about nature study, homeschooling, and family life, please consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.